Yes, there we go. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for attending tonight. This is Tuesday, May 12th, 2026. We'll go into our Finance Committee meeting. At this time, I will yield the floor to Chairman Westcott. Whoa, man, sorry about that.
That's a one. It's a
Chairman
blasphemy.
Keller. At this time, I ran into him this week, and so it's kind of weird.
It's
At
a
this time, I will yield the floor to Chairman Keller. I apologize.
It's a blast from the past, but I take that as a huge compliment. Good evening, everybody. Item 1 on our agenda is an appropriation from the Sales Tax Capital Fund 07 in the amount of $3,500 to purchase a weather camera and to join the Arkansas Weather Watchers camera network. I'm moving forward item 1 of the full council with a recommendation of approval.
Second.
Is there any discussion on item 1?
Yeah, where will this be located?
It'll be on top of the fire department, and it'll be a PTZ, what's called a point tilt zoom. OEM will have access to it, fire, police, and we'll be able. And also, when someone is forecasting, say on a weather channel, they will be able to see what's actually going on in our area and tell our people what's going on. And it'll also have other data that will be attached to that weather station. So.
Is there any further discussion on item 1? Hearing none, all those in favor of forwarding item 1 to the full council with a recommendation of approval, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Item 1 is forwarded. Item 2 is an appropriation from the Economic Development Capital Fund 27 in the sum of $14,000 to be used to purchase a backhoe. I move we forward item 2 to the full council with a recommendation of approval. Second. Is there any discussion on item 2? Hearing none, all those in favor of forwarding item 2 to the full council with a recommendation of approval, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Item 2 is forwarded. Item 3 is an appropriation from the Parks and Rec 1 cent sales tax 08 in the sum of $80,912 to be used to purchase 2 Ford F-150 pickup trucks for Parks and Rec. I'll move forward item 3 to the full council with a recommendation of approval. Second. Is there any discussion on item 3?
Are these replacements of existing vehicles?
I apologize. Yes, we'll be replacing trucks, due to age.
Is there any further discussion on item 3? Hearing none, all those in favor of forwarding item 3 to the full council with a recommendation of approval, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Item 3 is forwarded. Item 4 is an appropriation from the Parks and Rec 1 cent sales tax 08 in the sum of $7,575 to purchase 2 double axle trailers with tailgates for Parks and Rec. I move we forward item 4 to the full council with a recommendation of approval. Second. Is there any discussion on item 4? Hearing none, all those in favor of forwarding item 4 to the full council with a recommendation of approval, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Item 4 is forwarded. Item 5 is an appropriation from the Parks and Rec 1 cent sales tax fund 08 in the sum of $46,013 to repair and resurface city park tennis courts. I move we forward item 5 to the full council with a recommendation of approval. Is there any discussion on item 5?
Will these be striped for tennis or tennis and pickleball again?
These are actually going to be striped for tennis only.
And these are, Terry had mentioned this a few months ago, I think.
Yes, these are the ones at City Park. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is there any further discussion on item 5? Hearing none, all those in favor of forwarding item 5 to the full council with a recommendation of approval, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Item 5 is forwarded. Item 6 is a consideration of a payment for damages sustained to a vehicle that was traveling east and hit a manhole that the top had been dislodged and damaged the vehicle. This is submitted by Public Works. Move for discussion on item 6. Okay, we're now open to discussion. What can,
Mr. Duval's at the
oh,
podium.
sorry,
and,
Kenneth, what can you tell us
Would
about
you
this?
state your name
Yeah.
for the people at home?
Kenneth Duval, Public Works Director. Mr. Jacobs is here. He was in the vehicle. He's also signed up. He wants to speak as well. But I'll tell you about the incident as I know it. It was brought to my attention, an incident occurred with a manhole cover on West Parkway, basically right across from the UPS store. Mr. Jacobs hit an open manhole cover and he's wanting compensated. The claim I put in the packet, so. And Mr. Jacobs would like to speak as well.
Come forward, Mr. Jacobs, if you would state your name for those at home.
Hello, my name is Kayla Jacobs. I was involved with an incident on April 3rd with a company vehicle that was driving on Parkway Drive. And during the conditions, it was pouring down rain, heavy pouring down rain, there was no visibility. And unfortunately, we struck a open manhole that was left open. And that left damage on the rear passenger wheel, so it bent the rim completely, and it damaged the tire. And the damages approximately was around $1,800. So I'm here today to request that to be paid, please.
Are you okay?
Yes. Little wet from it, but yes.
Very, very sorry you had to deal with that.
You're the one that put the manhole cover back on, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm
Appreciate
sorry
that.
I didn't mention that. Thankful to him. He did. You said your father-in-law?
It was my stepdad.
Or your stepdad. When they pulled over, they did get out of their truck, walk back down, and they actually put the manhole cover back on. Luckily, it was close. Another one got close, but they put it back on. So I wanted him to know we were grateful for that.
Do we know how it got dislodged?
I have no idea.
Yeah, okay.
Zero idea.
Kenneth, is that the same one that I had messaged you
Yeah.
about?
Yes.
And do you think that, he said it was pouring rain, do you think there's the water filling up and popping it up?
It could be, Chris. I'm not sure, but that is the one you called about, and I will let the council know that it's not coming off now. But I will also tell you, it is set for when school is out, we're going to replace the whole structure because
Awesome. Okay, that was my question.
I don't really know why it came on. I don't know. It's y'all know I've been here almost 30 years, and I can't ever remember one like that happening. So.
Awesome, yeah, that's what I wanted to make sure it was fixed, so thank you.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
it's not
Got a good beat on it?
I promise.
Mr. Jacobs, what company do you work for? This is completely conversational. That's not-
Yeah, it's Katie Jacobs Incorporated, and the DBA would be W&W Disposal Service in Clarksville.
I'm just so glad you're okay. And thanks for putting the cover back on.
Thank you.
What was the exact amount one more time? I know it's included. It was about 17 and some
Yeah.
change.
Now, it's my understanding we can pay for the
1729.37.
we can pay for the repair only, right? So 1729, is that something we can put in a motion now and go ahead and get pushed through? Can I make them, or go?
No, I was gonna say, I think, well, we can't, yeah, you're on the thing, you can make the motion, but I mean, we can't, the only thing we can do is move it to the full council. We can't make a motion to actually make action this evening.
I'll make a motion to put it to the full council with a recommendation of approval to pay the 1729 and some change, whatever that number was.
Second.
Okay, is there any further discussion on item 6? Thank you all very much for coming down, and again, glad you're happy, or glad you're okay.
1729.
Hearing no other discussion on item 6, all those in favor of forwarding item 6 to the full council with the recommendation of approval of paying the 17 and the amount to repair the vehicle, please say aye. All those opposed say nay. Item 6 is forwarded. Item 7 is consideration of an ordinance approving the private club permit for Los Munchies Social Club, required by the state private club permit application with the Arkansas Alcoholic Beverage Control Division per Arkansas Code annotated 3-9-222 as amended. Okay. I move we forward item 7 to the full council with the recommendation of approval. Is there any discussion on item 7?
Where is Los Munchies?
It is where Wildflower used to be on South Arkansas.
Oh, that's great.
Very good food, just
Oh,
might add that.
perfect. All right, good. Welcome.
Is there any further discussion on item 7? Hearing none, all those in favor of forwarding item 7 to the full council with the recommendation of approval, please say aye. All those opposed say nay. Item 7 is forwarded. Item 8 is consideration of a resolution authorizing the mayor and the city clerk treasurer to accept the lowest responsible bid and to sign a landscaping agreement and associated paperwork with landscapers, landscapes of River Valley for the 2026 through 2028 landscape maintenance contract. Moving forward item 8 to the full council with a recommendation of approval. Is there any discussion on item 8?
This includes all properties? What will they
Mr.
do
Duval's
landscaping?
coming.
Sorry.
Yeah.
What this includes is all the bulb outs downtown, El Paso, the roundabout on Detroit, the roundabout on 12th Street. I don't think I forgot. Oh, and the flag, where the flag is. That's everything that it includes.
Does this include, like, does it spell out what they have to have, like so many shrubs, or is it
Yeah.
just
They're
general?
maintaining what we have.
Yeah,
They
to
have to
maintain
maintain
what
what
we
we have.
Yes.
And also the trees downtown?
Yeah, the care of the trees are
Yeah,
in
yeah.
here as well,
Okay.
yes.
Like picking up leaves when they.
Yeah,
when-
and adding stuff when it's needed, trimming them when they're needed.
Is this going down El Paso also?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and it's a coat of mulch? Is that
Oh,
included
rock
or is
now,
that
I believe.
extra?
We're going,
It's rock now.
it's rock now.
Okay.
And we
Yeah.
went to the rock, well, you know why, you was in the bit, less maintenance.
Does this include the trees on Parker Road?
This doesn't include the trees on Parker Road, no, sir.
Okay. What is the plans for the trees on Parker Road? Because I noticed a lot of them have, over the years, have died because it doesn't look like there's
Yeah,
a lot going out with them.
I've met with Mr. Olson about some of the trees. We need to replace some of the trees. It's on us to do that. And the Public Works Department, we're the ones that normally keep them trimmed up if they're blocking view or whatever. But yeah, if you would, yeah, me and you could talk and we can come up with a solution, definitely.
Do we have a line item on that? Because I don't remember one, because there's a dozen on Phoenix.
No,
as well
I
that
don't
are-
think we
that are
have a
dead.
particular line item for, I mean, we do for cutting trees, but I don't know, we don't. I don't think we could use that for that. So if we replace some trees, I might have to come back to the council and
Okay,
ask.
that's something we need to look at in budget, because when we do a project that's got trees, inevitably some of them are gonna die and, or get hit by mowers or whatever, so.
Yes.
Mr. Duval and I have been talking about a project with trees at several locations to replace ones that have died, add some in some other places, move some around that need to be potentially moved. Also been working with, Sarah John Dahl and her team, also with talking about warranties from other developers when they come in. When they come in and put in a landscape and 12 months later, 3 trees are dead and it looks terrible, well, they need to come back and replace that and add another 12 months to their warranty. And yeah, it goes on
Okay.
and on. So we're trying to work, we spit out some rules. Now we're trying to, it's like anything else,
Yeah,
fine tune it,
yeah.
make it look good, make it work good.
Okay.
To piggyback off that, one thing I'd like to see coupled with that.
Yep.
Coupled with that would be to maybe put out an RFQ and get an arborist who's actually someone who deals with trees professionally to be able to come around and maintain the trees that we're putting out and making sure they look good.
Yeah, we're also working on some structure within the Parks and Rec department, so there's different specialties and different groups, so maybe somebody can come with one of those certifications with continuing ed and whatnot to help with that.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Duval.
Is there any further discussion on item 8? Hearing none, all those in favor of forwarding item 8 to the full council with a recommendation of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Item 8 is forwarded. Item 9 is consideration of a resolution accepting a bid from Hard Rock Construction Incorporated for the award of O Street drainage improvements, O Street and North Arkansas. It's Project 2509 for the city of Russellville. It further authorized the mayor and the city clerk treasurer to enter into an agreement with Hard Rock Construction Incorporated on the O Street drainage improvements at the same location. Moving forward, item 9 to the full council with a recommendation of approval.
Second.
Is there any discussion on item 9?
I did, sorry, I'm a little chatty tonight. Mr. Glenn or Kenneth, can y'all, does that include intersection improvements also there? It's just the drainage?
No, sir. just the
Exactly what I was
drainage.
going to ask.
Are we still having those discussions with RDOT, or?
No, sir, we are not. But
On the intersection improvement,
we're not,
Yeah.
yeah, that's,
they may do that on their own.
Yeah.
They may do that on their
Because
own.
we're gonna have to have something there.
A
Yeah.
ton of kids
That
cross
is
the road.
awful. Still can't see there.
Well, yeah, even just painting.
At night.
We can't even just paint the curbs.
curbs.
Yeah.
yes.
We've mentioned
I
that a
have
few
called about
times.
that, yes.
Either
So,
light or reflective paint, because you cannot see when you're, especially making a left turn off
will-
of Arkansas going south.
I will make some phone calls tomorrow and see if I can make that happen sooner.
Also, I know that a long time ago, and when I say that, maybe less than 10 years ago,
Okay,
we did some drainage improvements there on O Street
yes,
that didn't improve the drainage at all whatsoever.
yes.
Is this an addendum to that, or?
Well, it's,
Yeah.
you could say it's an addition to
Yeah.
it, yes.
Okay.
And it's, I know we have a good plan. It's,
This should fix our issue.
it should fix our issue, definitely.
So-
I won't never say positively.
Now, if you had the rain that Conway had yesterday.
Right. I'm talking about
Nothing's gonna fix
flood.
that, but
Yeah, no.
this will fix 98% of our issues, so.
It will.
So this is a detention pond that's gonna go out there, right?
That's a
Detention
part
bond
of
with drainage that goes around to the tributary, so it's
All the way
gonna be,
around
it's
the
gonna be a
curve.
big project, so.
Okay. I don't know if I'd go 98. I might go 90.
I'm pretty,
Oh,
I'm,
no,
I'm
yeah, you
optimistic, I'm optimistic.
Because you saw that Conway rain the other day.
I'm
and-
pretty confident.
Well, yeah,
Low
but
rock rain.
that's a 1% rain.
Uh,
Yeah.
Anything else?
Thank you, Mr. Duval. Is there any further discussion on item 9? Hearing none, all those in favor of forwarding item 9 to the full council with a recommendation of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Item 9 is forwarded. Item 10 is discussion and possible resolution regarding the West 7th Street drainage system improvements, Ridgewood to Waco Ditch, and to enter in an agreement with Barrett and Associates to provide professional services for the improvements, including the installment of a 2,000 feet of properly sized storm sewer culverts and inlets to replace the undersized pipes. Will also include improvements made to the storm sewer network in the existing street to contain the design, to contain the design flow within the right-of-way. Will include inlets and necessary capture of the flow in the street, reducing potential of structural damage and reducing width of flow in the street during typical rain events. I move we forward, or let's just, I move open up for discussion.
I hope that when people watch these, for the multitudes of people that watch these online, and they're like, man, they just really spend a lot of money, talk to the developers from 30 years ago, because every one of these is undersized pipes
Yep.
from drainage. And
Correct.
like, this is what we're having to spend our money on, you know? So that's really all I wanted to say about that.
Okay.
It's just my frustration that we're having to continually do this.
I would like to put an exclamation point on that, but I do have a question.
Okay.
100% with you. Is this the final piece to that drainage in that section
Yes,
of
me and
town?
Glenn was just discussing that same issue with Ms. Hannah. Yes, we do believe this pretty much is gonna take care of that entire area, the finishing, the last one.
And this is what, number 4 or 5?
Yeah.
Yes.
And do we know what that total number is?
You mean, how much have we spent? I would
Oh,
have.
I don't, you don't know what this is, but you think it's gonna be $1 million, so you're gonna be 2.5 to 3 million on that project total. Cause you had 1.4 on the
Easily.
Waco, and then we had 750 on Ridgewood, so that, but, yeah, so you're gonna be at 3.2 to 3.5 million in that, on that. Yeah, so-
Yes,
and
it
that-
is.
Yeah, that covers
That's
a
not-
couple neighborhoods.
That's not counting the detention pond and everything else we had to build too.
That doesn't include what we did when we redid Inglewood also, which was a starter for it. But
Yep.
that said, there's another big drainage project coming up that I understand in Shiloh area that's going to be very expensive, which again goes back to the pipes being undersized, the zone not being there, and the developer not doing what he's supposed to do. So when we hear stuff about code, to furthermore what Nathan was just saying, that stuff is, I know it's a pain and not everybody wants to do it, but it's there for a reason, because now we're going to have to spend another $3 million fixing another mess.
And I just want to say thanks to you, Kevin, and your whole team, Sarah and Glenn and Victoria, everybody out there, like, for working to make it where we maybe, hopefully, 20 years from now, the future council's not
Yes.
having to deal with these same issues, and they can spend money on Parks and Rec.
Other things,
And,
yes.
yeah.
Yes. Well, that's what we plan. We try to plan for the future, so.
I'll shut up now, thanks.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm moving forward item 10 to the full council with a recommendation of approval. Is there any further discussion on item 10? Yeah, no, that was just the second, yeah. So, all those in favor of forwarding item 10 to the full council with a recommendation of approval, please say aye. All those opposed say nay. Item 10 is forwarded. Item 11 is consideration of a reimbursement request from the Arkansas Valley Alliance for Economic Development for the first quarter of 2026 in the amount of $50,000. Moving forward item 11 to the full council with a recommendation of approval. Is there any discussion on item 11? Hearing none, all those in favor of forwarding item 11 to the full council with a recommendation of approval, please say aye. All those opposed say nay. Item 11 is forwarded. Item 12 is consideration of a reimbursement request for the Main Street Russellville first quarter of 2026 in the amount of $15,000. I move we forward item 12 to the full council with a recommendation of approval. Is there any discussion on item 12? Hearing none, all those in favor of forwarding item 12 to the full council with a recommendation of approval, please say aye. All those opposed say nay. Item 12 is forwarded. Item 13 is consideration of a resolution to authorize the mayor and the city clerk treasurer to sign an interlocal agreement with Pope County, Arkansas to split operational costs, operational expenses, 1/2 each for the operation of the city recycling facility going in at 1801 South Arkansas Avenue. I move we forward item 13 to the full council with a recommendation of approval. Is there any discussion on item 13?
Correction, that's South Knoxville, not South Arkansas.
What did I say? I'm sorry. South, I almost did it again, South Knoxville.
What are the estimated costs? Do we
You
know?
know that too?
Do we know?
No, it just depends on, how many,
Yeah,
much you dump,
absolutely.
how often you dump. It's not very much, I don't think.
Sarah John Dahl. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it's about $900 a month,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly, between the county and the city.
So we would split that.
So it's similar to the agreement we had sort of before, but except we're running the facility
Yes.
this time.
They'll pay
Correct.
half the tipping fees, basically,
Yes.
hauling and tipping
Okay.
fees.
The only difference is that we are adding e-waste.
Yeah, which is much needed. Thank you.
Thank you for all your hard work. Thank you. It's a great project. Is there any further discussion on item 13? Hearing none, all those in favor of forwarding item 13 to the full...
Who was the second on that one, Miss, the clerk? Bradley?
Bradley.
Bradley was the second. Okay, sorry.
All those in favor of forwarding item 13 to the full council with a recommendation of approval, please say aye. All those opposed say nay. Item 13 is forwarded. Item 14 is consideration of a resolution authorizing the mayor and the city clerk treasurer to sign an economic development agreement with the Woodmont Company for the reimbursement of infrastructure improvements. Move we forward item 14 to the full council with a recommendation of approval. Is there any discussion on item 14?
Yes, are we, I notice we have clawbacks in there now.
Yes, you've already appropriated the money. We
Right, I
had
just-
Mr. Smith sign a contract with the clawbacks that you guys had requested,
Okay.
a lot of the clawbacks that
was-
you guys had requested.
Thrilled to see those. I just wanted to double check that
Yes.
everybody else
Yeah.
saw that we're getting these clawbacks
Yes.
that we need.
Is there any further discussion on item 14? Hearing none, all those in favor of forwarding item 14 to the full council with a recommendation of approval, please say aye. All those opposed say nay. Item 14 is forwarded. Item 15 is consideration of a resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk treasurer to sign an economic development agreement with Texas Roadhouse for the reimbursement of site development. Moving forward item 15 to the full council with a recommendation of approval. Is there any discussion on item 15? See, I know we've got at least one person signed up for this.
Is Don signed up? Oh, you don't have to, okay. Don, if you would like to take the podium and state your name for those at home and for everyone else that's here.
Don Clark with Bowen Camp Construction, Fayetteville, Arkansas. I also got Jordan here, who is will be the owner landlord for the project.
Yes, so to clarify on that, I do not Jordan Ligon representing Russellville TR LLC, not necessarily authorized to represent Texas Roadhouse, but they will be a tenant potentially on this, so I'm sure you can read between those lines.
What is the extent of what's being negotiated?
I'm sorry.
What is the extent, what improvements and what cost, estimated cost?
Okay, what we're asking for is for reimbursement for the demolition of the current building that sits vacant on the property. Kind of bring you up to speed how a lot of these things work. The particular tenant in this case is not in the real estate game, so they rely on developers to come in and start the process. As I stated earlier, Jordan represents the developer landlord who will own the property. So as they go through and negotiate lease rent rates, there's always what we would call extraordinary cost. So if I'm not mistaken, I think they've looked here, this particular tenant has looked here in this region before, but couldn't get the economics to work. So with this particular development, it's close, but there is a gap in what the developer needs to make this rent basis work, and that's what we're asking for reimbursement. The property right now is under contract by the developer, but we won't close until we know that that gap is going to be filled.
And do you all have a copy of the amendment by chance? I know it was kind of down to the wire.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was kind of last minute, but yes.
Yeah, it was down to the wire. So the amount, to answer that question, is $58,810.
And that includes 120 jobs, is that correct, in this agreement? It's 120 jobs, 60 full-time equivalents, 60 other?
Yes.
Yes, and so also one of the recommendations we're asking to make, it may already be in there, obviously, we're not the end user, so we want to make sure that's something, that they can report. So typically, I would say, we did the Olive Garden project here too. Darden typically staffs up in the beginning anywhere between 150, 160, and then it kind of, as everybody understands, with attrition kind of comes down. I think this user would be in those similar, maybe a little bit higher, so we wanted to go down to what we thought the average would be for an operating size store in this market.
The final contract it's been last minute back and forth today, but we will have the final contract. And I discussed with Mr. Don before I think all of the issues are going to be worked out, and we should be good. So.
Don, I talked with you earlier, a couple months ago. Do you still, your revenue, and then the return to our tax base, are those numbers still about the same? What were your estimates?
Yeah, so I did go to Arkansas Tech here, so I'm a little proud of my math, but sometimes not. So from what I understand, this end user projects to do about 8 million here in annual sales, which in my math, kind of understanding your tax basis would be about 160 to 170,000 of new increased sales tax to the city. So, you know, in my previous life, having worked for a city, these were the things that we would look for to figure out if we're going to be able to assist. And so when there's a new product coming into a either vacant piece of land or a bare piece of land that's going to generate sales tax increase, this is typically where these kick in. So their numbers right now they are projecting 8 million sales annually. So again, however your taxes work out, I'm not 100% sure, but my dirty math
right.
was somewhere in there. Yep.
I got Arkansas Tech math too, but
Okay,
That's an easy kind of annual average number for them to use. So depending on how much this area likes to eat that product, obviously.
everybody's talking about it. That's the
We
one thing
think
they
it
want.
could easily surpass that number, yeah.
Okay. I also, I haven't seen I guess this is our semifinal thing we got in front of us here, so I was pleased with the clawbacks.
Yes, we
in there,
met with the team, and yeah, there's nothing really that's going to change on those clawbacks. I don't think. I think everything's going to be satisfactory to everyone. We should be able to we'll have that out. I think we'll be able to get that out to you guys in the next day or so, and you'll have that before you actually vote on Thursday.
Hey, Dawn. First of all, I'm super excited that you guys have been reaching out to local contractors for the bids, because it sounds like a lot. And also, if this does go through, what is your time frame? Or timeline, I guess?
So we're actually here a month earlier because the end user kind of maybe bumped up the time rate a little bit. So and I'll let Jordan take over, but typically, I think they've got their due diligence period still happening in the closing. So needless to say, far as the construction of the project, probably somewhere 6 to 7 months from the time we get a building permit and push forward.
I think you could start seeing some progress this fall. Yeah, and then we've got our commitments we've got to make before you start seeing vertical construction. There's two-phase, us as the site developer with infrastructure, getting the storm pipes the right size and installed there for you. But then, yeah, once you start going vertical, probably 7 months plus or minus before CO.
And can I remind y'all to apply for your liquor license early so we don't end up in the same issue?
I believe they've actually already been calling and talking to finance. From my understanding, they've already been calling and talking to finance. So.
Yeah, that's unfortunately the end users and tenants usually drive that.
Yeah.
And we're just here to
Build the building.
to help.
Just pass that along, please.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I'm sure that in the process, you guys have gone through our code and everything like that to make sure that you know what is required in the city for construction of a site like this. Have you guys flagged at any point in time any variances to our code that you guys will be asking for?
I can speak to that. So we were involved in the Olive Garden Academy, so we're familiar with it. I will honestly say that Russellville is probably one of the easiest places for us to go and develop. That's not always the case in our neck of the woods in northwest Arkansas. So there's not a lot of hurdles.
Can you shout that from the mountaintops?
Say that a little
again.
louder.
One of the easiest places.
Yeah.
I will, but it's starting to backfire me on my land prices when I'm trying to come in here and buy. So
Yeah.
I want to kind of keep that a quiet secret, unfortunately.
Yeah. But yes, we're familiar with the city requirements. On our team, we have former city employees, and we're very sensitive to that, meaning that we want to make sure we do right by the city in any place we go.
So you guys don't foresee asking for any variances to our current code?
I don't want to say none, as we're still working through design with our civil engineers and architect teams, but you know, there's not on the top of my head that are going to be a hindrance or anything that I don't think we would all be agreeable.
And y'all have already done quite a bit of due diligence of infrastructure and utilities and everything stuff already, meeting pretty well. So,
Yep. Yep.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yeah, one thing I want to add is we're excited to bring this as a reimbursement, so that lowers the risk to the city, meaning that if something does happen and this falls through, you're not obligated for anything. It's not until we meet our performance measures, then we will request that reimbursement. So just wanted to make sure I spoke that in the record.
Thank you all. Is there any further discussion on item 15? Hearing none, all those in favor of forwarding item 15 to the full council with a recommendation of approval, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Item 15 is forwarded. Item 16 is an appropriation from the Economic Development Capital Fund 27 in the sum of $24,006.98. And this is to purchase a flex wing finish mower for the airport. I move we forward item 16 to the full council with a recommendation of approval. Second. Is there any discussion on item 16?
the lawnmower fly?
It's
It
a
has
bat wing.
wings?
It's a bat wing. It lays down.
Is this, so I know the Parks and Rec has that bat wing that's not great.
No, we've already gone through that. We pushed one down and it's just like completely done, and so we're like, and so we're just going to need to buy one. We've already tried that.
Yeah, this
we
is-
got through this year on that one.
This is one of the ones from Parks and Rec that we replaced.
Yeah, so
You know, so.
this will take them from one guy will be able to mow one day instead of two guys mowing 2.5 days, like what we have right now. So without a bat wing. So and this will last us a long time, and it'll fit in the new shop that they have too. So.
Is there any further discussion on item 16? Hearing none, all those in favor of forwarding item 16 to the full council with a recommendation of approval, please say aye. All those opposed, say nay. Item 16 is forwarded. Item 17 is consideration of a resolution to amend the downtown streetscape CMAR contract with Blackstone Construction LLC and to add pavement markings as described. Moving forward, item 17 to the full council with a recommendation of approval. Any discussion on item 17?
Is this the last one? I'm in.
For those at home, that was a thumbs up that we just got.
Yes.
Is there any further discussion on item 17?
I tried to look at all those renderings. I need something the size of that screen to do it, but I'm assuming that the parking on Main and the first block there on the north side is still, we're still going to have the hashed lines, because I could not see
On the
those
back,
now.
the back line, the
Yeah.
back, just indicating to park inside that back line.
No large vehicles?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you come to the microphone, please? We got folks watching, thank you.
Don Erbach with Blackstone Construction. We're the construction manager for the Downtown Improvements Project. To answer your question, there's been very few changes on 64 from the standpoint that most of the stuff that is going back is what was there. We have had some changes in the plans as originally put forward, as the plans that were put out to bid, because of some of our changes, removals of bulb outs, repositioning some things. We have a different striping plan in different areas, so if there's specifics, I'm happy to follow up and show you what we're going to, put in. But in fact, we're doing a walk around tomorrow at 1 o'clock to talk about specifics and making sure that everybody's on the same page for what we're getting, babe. So I hope that answers your question.
Yep, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Albert.
I have a question real quick. Not about that specifically, but B Street, is there an update on when that's going to be paved?
Yes, and maybe. So we have portion of B Street behind the county courthouse will start, actually, they started removing some of it today, and that will be done in segments. We need to keep the courthouse parking lot open to the degree we can. There's actually three driveways for that parking lot. We need to keep at least one of them open during times. So Bowden, the contractor for that, will be doing that street in halves. So that will be done over the next week and a half. The middle section of B Street, we still have some consideration, secondary things that we need to take care of. So that may have a little delay on it. But we've been asked by the mayor to make sure we have all that done before the 4th of July holiday, and that is our intent. So,
I do have one more
Thank
question.
Yeah.
Sorry. The bollard settings over in front of Central Fire, there are cracks in those. I don't know if they're cosmetic, but I know after bollards get slammed down in there several times, can you check those?
Yes.
There's some, I don't know how significant they are, but there's clearly cracks on some of those bollard foundation or settings or whatever they
Okay,
are.
I'll follow up with you on the exact location.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
Not to put you on the spot or make this an uncomfortable question, but is the holdup on B Street regarding one of the utility companies?
no.
Okay. Because we had several of them here tonight, so I
Yeah,
thought we could.
Yeah, no,
move
they've
some
been
along.
great partners in this. In fact, I
Great.
think schedules, they'll be out here. I know that Brightspeed is planning to be here starting next week, putting stuff in, and I know that Ritter and Optimum have schedules that they're preparing to get done as well. If you notice the poles, they're shorter than they used to be. Entergy has done all of their work. All the electrical is done downtown. It's all been switched over, so that's an undergrounded. Now the communications companies, so we can get those poles down. That will be probably the last major piece that we do.
Yeah.
So,
Cool.
awesome.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion on item 17? Hearing none, all those in favor of forwarding item 17 to the full council with a recommendation of approval, please say aye. All those opposed say nay. Item 17 is forwarded. Mayor, that's the last item on our agenda this evening. I yield the floor back to you.
All right. We will adjourn for 5 minutes for everyone to go to the restroom, but we will start at 5 minutes. We're adjourned. Do you want to put up with her?
He loves me, don't you?
But I told him, I said, we're not holding this project yet anymore. So that's what we're doing. I know Terry's wanting to try to do, we're trying to work with the high school. to try to do stuff out here. Yeah, we've already met. We met with Luke, Jeff, which good. Which good. Ben. Yeah. We met. Yeah. Oh. 1 minute, please, 1 minute. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We'll kick off into the Tuesday, May 12th agenda meeting. Hey, Mr. Gray, you got your spin the wheel thing down there? You'll get it right up there?
Not the same numbers.
Not the same. She's picky about those numbers, Paul. I don't. You do your best. Three. Oh, 31. Yep. 23.
26.
26.
It can't be 20. I got 23 again. That's not going to work.
How does that work?
18.
18. All right, cool.
Well, it's random, so.
It is. Okay. All right. At this time, Mr. Duval, will you give us a 2-minute, 2-second rundown?
Okay, for the recycle center, what we have been working with, what's left is the fence and the gates and some striping and some hydro seed. And then the poles, we will end up, Public Works will put the poles up, and then the cameras come later, so. Knoxville and Main traffic signal. The signal work is complete. If you go over there now, you can see a lot of work going on. They're doing the ramps and some sidewalk. And as soon as they're done, that's when we will uncover the ped lights and pedestrian lights and make sure everything's good. South Detroit, the sidewalk, we're starting next week. Starts at B Street, goes to 4th Street. That's starting next week. For the Prairie Creek project, I wanted to give you all a little information. The plan is to close Parkway the Tuesday after Memorial Day. That's for the demo and replacement of the bridge. Our goal, I'll say it's a goal, is to have it open by the start of the school. I'm not going to make promises, but we will do our very best, and I know they will do their very best. Another job I was going to let y'all know about, the Reasoner, Arkansas traffic signal improvements and widening of the lane, that's going out for bid this weekend. That's all I have.
So both bridges are coming out at the same time, right? Or
Yes.
no? Okay.
I had to think about that for a minute. Yes.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right. So we jumping on down to old business. Will be a consideration of an ordinance accepting dedication right-of-ways, of easements, City of Russellville, on the plat of Damascus Road Addition, minor subdivision plat, 118 to 120 Damascus Road and other purposes. It's going to be the second of 3 readings on behalf of Barrett & Associates for D&T Investors. Item 2 on old business will be a consideration of an ordinance amending the current zoning code for the City of Russellville adopted by ordinance number 2443. Once again, this will be a second of 3 readings. Moving on to new business, Mr. Gray has requested item 3 be moved to the front due to...
We're gonna postpone. I need to put that, Gina, if you'll move that to next month.
Okay.
She has, Ms. Hausnick has a couple of updates.
Was she-
or she's working on some.
She's right there. Okay,
No, we're
okay,
doing- no.
okay. So you want to
we're
post
good.
number 3? Yes.
No,
okay.
we're on number 1.
Okay, go to number 1. Okay, I'm sorry, I was told that. Okay, item 1 is discussion about down parking, placing a limit of 2 hours, and this is submitted by Paul Gray.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was approached by some downtown merchants, and about 3 weeks ago, we sat down and talked about parking issues. Just a little bit of quick history, and we all know this if you've lived in Russellville. 15 years ago, when did y'all open Fat Daddy's? 12 years ago. Okay, so 15 years ago, at 5 o'clock, downtown was a ghost town. And parking was really nobody worried about it because there wasn't a lot going on, and Fat Daddy's opened and things started to change, especially after hours, after normal, 8 to 5 hours. So I think this is a good problem to have, that we're talking about parking, because we've got a lot going on downtown, more investment, more businesses, and I love our downtown, and it's vibrant now. So it's a great problem, I think, to have. I don't want to have a problem, but it's a great issue that that there's that many people trying to get downtown and do business. But we do have a problem because I didn't know this till I started researching this. First time I talked to a couple of merchants was about 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago. We have a merchant downtown paying $750 a month. So his customers can park at Lowe's car parts. I mean, that's just not okay when we've got one of our merchants paying another business so his customers have a place to park. So I'd like to address, this is a discussion. I've gotten a couple of good emails from people with some suggestions and stuff. I am not proposing that we're going to fix anything tonight, but it's a beginning of conversation. And unfortunately, I have slides. No. I do have slides, but they were submitted by merchants. So I'm going to start it, and then I'm going to ask the merchants to come up and talk, and then I hope we'll have a good conversation. So here's our mission statement, front page of the website. Exist to cultivate a vibrant, thriving, you can read it. So these photos that were submitted to me were taken before other retail stores and restaurants are open for business. And so there's lots of empty parking spots. The city just built a brand new, how many spots are down there, Mayor?
Oh, Glenn, 38, 39, I believe. Yes, 38.
Whatever they are, every time I come downtown, I park there, and I'm there with like 2 other vehicles, tops. Usually, I just see 5 there the other day. It's always one of y'all's that's down there. So I'm going to ask the merchants, anybody that's going to be their spokesman, to come up and talk about, because these aren't my photos. These are photos that were taken by the merchants. So I'll let y'all take it from here, and then we can discuss.
Hi, good evening. My name's Yancy Walker, and I work at C&D Drugstore. And we've got some other business owners down here too. We just kind of wanted to demonstrate what's going on downtown. I know you guys frequent downtown often, but really we think things could be even better, where things could be better to where we could have more people being able to shop. We've got, then there's other businesses downtown that aren't retail, office space, we have residential. So we need an answer that's going to serve all these different business types, but also there's not a parking problem, there's a parking management problem. So almost every day, and this is going to sound super ridiculous to everybody, but I'll videotape entering downtown and I'll film all these empty spots on the highway in front of Liberty Bank. And right when you get into downtown, it's the same cars parked there all day long. So the same cars are there at 8:15, that are there at 12:30, that are there at 2:30. And when you think about all the opportunity lost for, again, all those spots to be turned over throughout the day, all the tax dollars missed for the city, et cetera, we just feel like a 2-hour parking situation might benefit everybody involved, but you're not taking parking spots, like I said, away from anyone from the offices. It's just they would need to pivot to the exterior, really. So we're hoping we can come up with some type of solution that'll help everybody. Paul, this...
You hit the down, I'll show you. Hit the down arrow.
I feel really old right now. Yeah, okay. So this is just a random day at 8 a.m. on Commerce. I mean, this is before restaurants are open. This is before any other retail stores open. I mean, and these cars are gonna be here all day. This is another day at 9 a.m. It's the same cars. They'll still be there at 12:30. Another day at 8 a.m. So when people come through downtown, they think, man, downtown's hopping. But really, and it might be, and I feel like everyone does a good job with their business. It could be better because if all of those spots could be turned over 10 more times a day, like, hooray for everybody. Same cars, And then here's a picture on the highway. All of those spots are empty, and that's at 12:41. Okay, and now, Russellville's not trying to be a Conway, like, believe me, but I do applaud them. They've gone to a 2-hour parking in their downtown, and even I was there for Mother's Day lunch on Saturday, even by Hendrix College, like where the Zaza's used to be, and there's some other
The
restaurants.
Villages or whatever.
All of those are painted 2-hour parking too. And they do have an ordinance that they've adopted. It's under the mayor's office. There's a parking attendant who does have authority to issue parking tickets, and he'll go out a couple of times a day. I don't know how many they've issued or what those funds go to, but it could be a neat opportunity. We kind of talked about this already. Those cars that are parked there all day, they're really impacting their neighbors. I mean, we've got businesses who have been severely impacted already by the construction, and it's for the better for the city. We've had businesses close their doors over the last 2 years. I just really think that this could benefit everybody involved.
Will you talk about that last point? Because this
Yes.
was something when y'all brought that up at the meeting, I didn't even think about. So.
Right. I mean, I've had a lot of friends say, I'd love to open a business downtown, but why would I go open a business downtown when people aren't going to be able to get to me readily? And so it was really impactful hearing that from them. I thought, oh my gosh, I wonder who else wanted to open something downtown. And then other people who've opened businesses downtown, they're like, I love my neighbors, I love being down here, but man, I didn't realize that this was an issue. So I think taking a positive stance and approaching this 2-hour parking would really help not only support your current downtown businesses, but attract future downtown businesses with a really great environment. And this was from the master plan, the Walker Collaborative that the city hired. I forget how much we paid them. They did an analysis of our downtown and potential growth and the direction that the city wanted to grow in. And they said, at present, no parking management is occurring. This is in 2013. The situation may not currently be a problem. However, as revitalization success is achieved and parking demands increase, management will be needed. Management does not require parking meters, but it should require that vehicles limited to 2 to 3 hours on-street parking. In the meantime, merchants should ensure that their employees are not parking on-street so that shoppers have convenient parking. And again, I think that's it. You want to make things convenient for people, and it's not just for the businesses, but for the public. Let's make it easy for them to get downtown and enjoy it and discover new places to go and eat. So yes, 2-hour parking I think would be fantastic if we can figure out a good way to streamline that process. And it's interesting, I've been having this conversation since 2013, I feel like. And when someone says, we don't have a parking problem, well, that's great. Maybe to them we don't have a parking problem, but to some people and their businesses and the ability to keep their lights on are directly impacted by people being able to get into their door. It's pretty impactful. There is a parking problem, in their eyes. But yeah, in general, we are a great crew. We want liveliness, we want growth, we want to feel like we have support from our city, and I'd like to offer the floor to anyone that wants to say anything.
But Yancy, are you just thinking signage, like to start off with? Like, is that going to be helpful, you think? I mean, you've been dealing with it a long time, so.
Right. I think, you know, it's been amazing. We have these, if y'all have been around C&D Drugstore, we have these signs that we put out there every morning, and it's amazing. 2 spots. Everyone seems to really respect it.
I don't park there unless
Yeah,
I'm going
I mean,
in.
it really is. So, you know, I don't know if that's the answer. I don't know if the people who are parking in the streets all day now are gonna respect some painting on the sidewalk, I mean, in the parking spots. I do think a city ordinance will be needed so that there can be tickets or some sort of repercussion to people. We don't need to be policing people anymore. We're too busy, you know, you can say, oh, so-and-so's parking there, oh, they've been there all day, like. So I'm not sure exactly what the answer is for that, but we need to move forward in a 2-hour parking.
Maybe a start.
I think an ordinance, yeah. I think if we could somehow have someone or watching it, a parking attendant, and use those funds to, I don't know, do something downtown.
I like the idea of 2-hour parking. I totally agree. I'd like to see a more comprehensive plan, because where are the residents gonna park if it's all 2-hour parking downtown? What are the time frames? Who's gonna manage it? Is that something the police can do, or does that need to be out of the mayor's office? Do we need to have a ordinance wrote up? Do we already have one from when we had 2-hour parking meters in the past?
Right.
I think if we can get all of that squared away, I think that every single person on this council is on board with it. We just need to get further clarification with that.
Right.
So.
Conway has a good ordinance, and they do it a little bit differently. And I talked to Chief Ewing today, and, you know, obviously police don't want to be in the enforcement business. That's obvious, but there are some creative ways. I talked to Clarksville about a plan they use we can get into those weeds later on, but there's a couple of things we do have to remember. There's people living downtown, so residents, so we need to be mindful of that. And I'm glad you said what you said, Yancy. The merchants don't need to be in the enforcement business. They're trying to run a business, you know, running outside to tell people, hey, can you move? And then we've got an obvious problem down there that, you know, that someone wrote me an email today and said a lot of the parking spots are taken up from the beauty school kids parking there when they get to go to school, and they're there all day. And so I'm not the person to talk to about that, because I was in the school business for 30 years, and students, you tell them, you go park down there. And if they said anything, you go, you park down there. And if you want to park, or you won't park anywhere, you won't drive anymore. You know, that's the world I grew up in, my professional world. But so that's one of the things I think the merchants are going to have to address as well, is if the merchants can get everyone downtown to realize we got a parking place down here for you, and you park your employees park down there, you park your business vehicles down there, you know, or whatever. So I think it's going to take a little bit on the merchant side too. So.
Well, I think that's why we're here, is because
Yeah, absolutely.
this is well beyond talking to your neighbors and explaining why this is important. This has been going on for 10 years, the same conversation.
Yep.
I remember the first time when I'd moved back, I was like, well, let me just go talk to them. Like, they'll understand. And then another
I know
new
you need more
business-
tools, yes. And
Yeah, I was
I
like-
think we're willing to give you the tools. We just need to talk all this through
Yes.
with all of the issues.
Yeah, so we're looking for like maybe an 8 a.m. to 4:30 or 5.
This
And
would, yeah,
then-
this would be Monday through Friday, 8
Yeah.
to 5 is kind of what the merchants came up with that night that we met. So.
Yeah, that's kind of
Yeah, after 5 o'clock, it's, you know,
yeah.
We could always do a hang tag or something for the residents too during those hours, though, that says, there's not very many. So
No, there's not very many.
some type of tag or something that notices, they don't get a ticket for it.
Well, and then we also can't, like on Main Street.
we're not doing, yeah, Main
We
Street was
can't
out,
do-
yeah.
Main Street
But
was
yeah,
excluded.
as someone who's been there over 20 years, it's the same 2 or 3 properties. Like, the issues are the same couple of buildings.
Right.
And owners, and they've been the issues since 2004, which is when we moved there.
Right.
So the niceties, the letters, the meeting
The
outside
bringing
and saying,
pizzas
hey,
in,
can we,
yeah.
those things aren't working. So there needs to be the city needs to step in, I
Yeah.
think, in my opinion.
Right. I mean, there's certain buildings downtown, let's say when business moves out and maybe someone has a certain game plan for this empty building. Well, then what if a call center comes in and there's 50 employees there? I just feel like this is the time to get some type of groundwork on the ground in place and support our businesses and then that way, hopefully plan for more growth.
With all the money that the city has invested in downtown the last few years, if we're not providing support for the owners and property owners down there, we just had conversation with several businesses, several industries, several job providers, where we are providing funds for them to bring customers, here, to bring workers here, and we have this already set up industry area, and I think that which we've done a lot for over the last couple of years, especially with the construction.
Well, we put them through a lot,
But also put them through a lot, and I think that we need to do more in regards to day-to-day operations.
Right, otherwise we would have spent a few $1 million on a beautiful parking lot for the same 20 cars to park in every day, next to a beautiful tree, and, yeah.
So,
Is there any other merchants that want to speak or have any input? Sorry, I just interrupted somebody.
Hey guys, Will Wetzel. I was just going to kind of reiterate what Yancy has already spoken about, and Chris brought up one of my main concerns when we had our first meeting was the residents downtown. And I know that a lot of these businesses and offices have superseded and or been there before any of this problem occurred. And we don't want to cause a burden on them, but I know businesses like Blake back there, Old Bank, and even Johnny at the bike shop, etc. It'd be a lot more convenient. People could pull in, park, get their business done, and carry on about their day without having it, disrupted just by people not being able to park downtown. You hear that on repeat that I would love to come down there and go eat there, but man, I drove around for 10 minutes, couldn't find a parking spot, so I left. And I think that's going to, the issue with the parking will self-police itself if we put some signage up. I would hope so. And I think as we continue to grow at our downtown, people will realize that we truly don't have a real parking problem. We have a walking problem in Russellville, and people will catch on to that, and they'll park at the different areas, and they'll come to us. But just speaking of what you were talking about, Nathan, I had a group from Springfield, Missouri in town a couple weeks ago, and they were just going on and on about how cool downtown Russellville is, and that all the time they're trying to go, they're a big mountain bike group, and they wanted to come riding out Mount Nebo, but always they would go to Northwest Arkansas because their group said there was so many more things to do, it was a lot more fun, and they said, man, that was totally game changer for them. When they got here, they realized what was all going on, the great places to eat, the cool shops they got to go into. They stopped into Jackalope and just the wealth of information that they got from him, and they got to experience Mount Nebo, which is, we all know, is world-class trails, and that was just, that one group could be a game changer, and that's in everything going forward for us. But if we could clear this up and make it good for everybody, I think it's just a step in the right direction, because I think we're on the cusp of just being one of the coolest places in all of Arkansas. So that's all I have to say. Thanks.
Chris.
Oh, one more thing. And thanks to this group that had the forward thinking to put the parking lot in just down the street. That was a step in the right direction. So that's continue doing those things, and we'll get there. Thanks.
I was going to try and, again, push some action out of this, and obviously, there's a group downtown that would be a parking group, so that have way more years of experience downtown than I do or anybody up here. So if there was a way that maybe that group could pull together what they think would be a great plan, and then maybe we can get that to Glenn. I don't know who the right person would be.
They've got a,
in-house.
the night I met with them, a sort of a, it wasn't all in concrete yet, but the plan was, they have a plan. It's 2 hours. At some point, you're going to have some kind of enforcement. It's like Mr. Sheeran said, I think 90% of the people will see 2 hours, and most people will just follow the rules. But you're going to have some that don't. So,
well, I guess what I'm saying is, can we put that all together?
Yeah.
And get it to Glenn so that he
Absolutely.
can draw something up that we can look at.
It would be more planning,
It
I
would
think.
be
than
Gavin.
Glenn.
Or planning or whoever.
Planning
I'm
or
sorry,
code enforcement. It could be it may be code enforcement also too.
I think Gavin's
I'm
not
not good,
agreeing
so
right now.
try it,
but-
whatever.
No, Victoria, Miss Marchand's not agreeing. So, no, it may be.
I was thinking drawings.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
Yeah.
But what I'm getting at is something tangible with words and drawings that we can look at and go, yes,
Yeah,
we
and
want
we've got an
this, or
ordinance.
change this, or I don't know about this, something that we can actually look,
Yeah, and
vote on, put an ordinance together, and just get it done. And so we're not just sitting here talking about
No,
talking.
I plan to, I hope we'll have it back next month as far as I'm concerned. I'll get with Yancey and the rest of the merchants.
Do we need to make a motion to have a plan
No,
in place?
Well, we're
We could just
agenda
have a
for-
motion and bring
yeah.
it to agenda next month.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
bring it to agenda next
Yeah.
month. And
I think
we can use Conway's ordinance as a.
Well,
as
the
a
couple
starting
things is
place.
just try to figure out where you're going to have enforcement. What department's that going to come from? How's that going to be paid for? And then Ms. Wetzel said something about a hang tag for downtown residents.
Yeah,
So-
well, we can figure that out. And then I want to add one more thing. This is an education because Mr. Wetzel brought up something that's really, really important. And I have this slide, and I take it everywhere I speak to a group. I always use it, and I didn't put it in here, is the city's Walmart slide, Walmart in the parking lot. If you take Walmart in Russellville in the parking lot and you overlay it on downtown, people don't think anything about walking from produce to the sporting goods section. That is most of downtown, the core of downtown. And so when you walk from produce to the tire shop at Walmart, you've walked way farther than you would ever walk downtown to go park by the depot and go to downtown Taco, or park by the depot and go to Fat Daddy's or anywhere else downtown. It's a mindset thing, and so if we can wrap our head around it, I know it's kind of new for us here in Russellville because 15 years ago there was nothing going on downtown in the evening, and now we got all this cool stuff going on, and but yeah, so let's get together again. Just let me know, and we'll put something together and put it on the agenda for next month.
Do you want to put out when y'all have a meeting or something so that people in the downtown area that are affected can attend, or some version of that?
Yeah, they invited all the merchants, and I was about 10 of us or so, 10 or 12 that showed up that night. But that's up to y'all if y'all can get another thing together. Now, if more than one of us comes, we got to notify the press and all that stuff. But I would much rather meet like we did last time. It's way more informal and way more fun to meet there.
I was thinking, even if they had to put it on Facebook or something, I don't know, public notification's always a good
Yeah.
thing.
All right. Thank you guys for coming. Appreciate you, and appreciate you for making downtown so amazing. Yeah. Okay. We got the OGs down there, and then we got the new kid on the block, the plant parlor there. Yeah, we got it all in between. So, plant parlor is awesome. All right. Moving on to item 2, discussion regarding utility workers digging up yards, leaving wires. We need more information brought to the city in a more regular basis and report their progress or lack thereof. This is submitted by Mr. Paul Gray. Paul, one more time.
All right. This was the month that everyone called me, which is good. That's my job, is people.
We all turned our phones off. That's the reason they called you.
I could have brought, well, you know what? I'll bring 10 items next. If that's
No,
what it's
I'm
gonna
just
be.
kidding. I'm just messing.
I was, a citizen called me about 3 weeks ago, and I went up and looked at his property. And then I had another one about a week ago, went over to her property, But I wish I could say this is a new thing, because if y'all remember about 18 months ago, 2 years ago, I brought this very issue, and I brought you lots of pictures that I had taken. I couldn't find my pictures. I don't know where they've gone. But I'm going to show you a few. And I know that thank you to Public Works for getting our internet providers and stuff here tonight. And I appreciate you coming. But I want to show you a few things that happen if you sit on this side of the dais. And I need some change.
While you're getting that together, I'll add, I know I'm talking a lot tonight, sorry. At my house, whoever just went through it, the ground's all tore up. The two boxes that they made connections in are undone, not screwed down or bolted or whatever. There's piles of dirt and rocks that have been there for about, I don't know, 6 weeks, 2 months, and now I got grass growing around them. And there's always, and ever since they did, there's rocks out in the street and everything else. So I 100% get everything you're about to say, and I'm very frustrated by it. Just FYI.
Well, then you'll find these photos familiar. You got it, James? Okay, thank you. These were sent to me. These are a few months old, but they were sent to me by citizens. This was the first time I talked to you, but well, actually this was after. And this is pretty common, what I see, whether I'm a big cyclist, and I see these everywhere. The one on the right at least is coiled up somewhat. I guess that's something, but this is just everywhere in the city. You don't have to look very far to see this. This was a woman who called me the other night, and you can see the blue markings there. That was the water company that Citicorp had come along and said, hey, the water's right here, so don't dig there. This is something, I don't know, I bet I've been on 8 trips into people's backyards to see a wire that goes into the backyard over a fence, goes into someone else's backyard, and then loops over a privacy fence, and God knows where it goes from there. And then I guess it goes to someone's house. And so it doesn't look good in our city, and it's really embarrassing as a public official to be called over to someone's house, and you have to stand there like I did last week and go, I don't know. I don't know what this is. Blue means water. I don't know what all these other mean. But anyway.
Is there still permits out there that need to be gotten or approved or something, Glenn?
And I got a whole lot more to say, so. Yeah, thank you.
We have a process we put in place recently. Glenn Newman, city engineer, we've been meeting with all the utility companies, the gas company, water, and electrical this year to discuss more of the permitting process with them. But a lot of the items that Mr. Gray's referring to more or less is the services, the drops. And depends on each fiber company and others how many more of those they have in place. The bigger builds were a major consumption of our time. We all worked through that. I think all agencies worked together and kind of everybody hit it once. It was very challenging. And now they're in the build out or the drop scenarios in there. So yes, there are some permits. There's constantly something going through the city every day. I don't have all the data. It's another part of Public Works, but I don't oversee the direct number of those volume. But we do have people that are looking at processing, though, when someone calls us to have a better idea who to look for first, and then we follow up. We don't have the staff to go and look at every single drop that they put down every day that things are going on, but we are working toward that on our end of it. And part of the meeting we've had with all these other utility companies is hopefully more self-policing to put tags out where they notify the property owners who they're crossing, where they are, so that hopefully they're calling them first, so they're aware of that is who the contact would be. And if they don't find out from that, ultimately they can always call Public Works. We can also do our time to try to chase those down, as Mr. Gray and others, I'm sure, get those phone calls, and it takes our time. So everybody's been responsive from our communication with all the utility companies, but I know there's still challenges out there, and there's definitely opportunity here. We have Brightspeed, Ritter, I believe there's someone from
TCW's in the back, I see.
So we have a variety of all the, I believe, representing just about every utility company here today to ask them or visit with them on any questions you have there. But yes, we do have permits, but no, I don't think we have any big builds out right now.
Mine was not from a drop. Mine was from going through my front yard. They were remodeling a house across the street too, so they went through that front yard, jacked it up, came across the road, and then went through my front yard and jacked it all up and left it, and I hadn't seen anybody in 6 weeks. So
And
that,
that's exact what
that's
we
a
were
problem.
discussing with each one of these utility companies this year, and we've met with all of them to date, and you know, the conversations have been, you know, they will do their best and notify, but that's where the challenge is the follow-up on them to go out there and win the communication if there's something lacking on when to work with that. We're still trying to work through the process on our end to do the follow-up with them on all these, because the volume's so high, our staff is not designed to handle all these services and connections that's going through for all three of these fiber companies, 3 to 4, that's come in at once or generally over the last year or two.
Well, I've got some this was citizen initiated. Someone called me, and he brought up the, you know, we have the wires. I went over on one, there was a wire across the street. It was running out of somebody's yard. It ran across University Avenue, and then ran into someone else's yard. And so I called Public Works and I said, "What is this?" And they said, "It's fiber." So, and it was there for days. It was not so, because I rode my bike over there and I crossed it, and next day I crossed it again after 3 or 4 days, because it's still, why would it be on the street? I mean, I didn't understand that one. The citizen also said reports of unmarked trucks. Now, the city has a policy on that, don't we? That no unmarked trucks. And I did see one myself in my ward about 18 months ago, whenever I brought this up before. It was unmarked. I called Public Works immediately, and they went over there, but the truck was gone by the time they got over there. So it's ugly. Anyway. He said, the citizen said he was, I won't say the company because I appreciate y'all being here. I am very appreciative of you to be here and listen to me and the rest of the council tonight, but I won't say the company. But he was told by the supervisor, "We've had a lot of trouble with that crew." Well, that just seems like a really odd answer. If I had trouble with a crew, then we fix the crew one way. We either retrain them, remediate, or fire them, or whatever we have to do, but that shouldn't be an answer that a citizen calls a company and they say, "Yeah, we've had trouble with that crew." I want to know if our city ordinances are being followed, and this is something I'm going to get with Public Works. Well, I'll just get to that. We need a policy of who, what, when, where, how, why. When you come into the city, what's your plan? Where are you going? Because I got a follow-up question on that one too. Who's your company's liaison to the city? Do we have a policy where it says this is the point person that you go to for TCW or Brightspeed or Ritter or Entergy or whomever? Present your plan to Public Works. Does it go to the council then? Does it stay in Public Works? Does it go to the mayor? We need some sort of plan that when I'm standing in somebody's yard going, I have no idea, that I ought to be able to either, I have a policy that I know what to do. Oh, okay, well, this is easy. We call so-and-so. And I think this is on us as a council. I think the city, we need to have something like this. How do we guarantee compliance? Because there is absolutely no compliance out there because it's the Wild West. I mean, just go drive around in any neighborhood. The citizen who complained to me, the first one, they put a new box in, fiber box or whatever it is, green, and it sits up about, I went over and looked, it sits up about that far off the yard. And he already asked him, "Hey, this is not going to work. I got to mow my lawn. I'm going to tear this thing up." And that was we've had trouble with that crew. What is our remediation plan for damage? When there is damage done in Chris's yard or somewhere else, what's the remediation plan? When does that get done? Timeline for damage and cleanup. How about a door hanger? Door hanger. We are X, whatever company. We're coming. We painted in your yard today, or your yard's painted, or whatever. We're coming back on Wednesday, or we're coming back on the 1st. And please don't say we'll be there between 8 and 8. I don't see how that works. Most people work. But anyway, you know, that somebody's coming back. We're the company. Here's who we are. I don't know if they need to design their own or whatever. We need some sort of thing where you hang it on their door and go, we're going to be back on Friday. We're going to be back on Tuesday. We're going to be back whatever. And we're going to start digging or whatever.
Just a yard sign. You know, when somebody, like, when you get your roof fixed or some other kind of thing done
we need
in your
yard signs.
yard or neighborhood, the company that did the work puts a sign there. Says, hey, look at what we did. You can drive down Skyline Drive and there are just utility companies. You can tell somebody's doing work, but I mean, I know who it is because we've had permits and things and those kind of, but like just regular John Q. citizen is like, why are they tearing up their yards, you know? And so to me, I'm with you. It shouldn't be our responsibility to be the hall monitors of every utility company that comes through here to where we have to say it's not Glenn's job to have to hunt down every person that gets called and says there are wires in my yard. It's not our responsibility. It's y'all's responsibility. And I'm not trying to be rude about that, but we were elected by people to have these conversations whether we really don't want to, but that's our job. It's my job to sit here and say to you, hey, get yours together and clean up in our communities. I mean, if my employees do something wrong, people come into and they talk to me, and I have to deal with them being frustrated. So this is what we're unfortunately having to do with you guys right now, is we are frustrated because our citizens are frustrated. And we are saying to you, please, whatever crews you got working, wherever they're from, whatever they're doing, clean it up so that we can say to our citizens, hey, sorry that happened. We're working on it.
Well, I'll close, and then if any of these guys, and I'm not going to call your names out tonight. I got it. I was going to, but I decided I'm not going to because I'm going to give you a chance to make this right and to talk with us either publicly or after the meeting. So I called. I'm not happy with my service right now. My internet goes in and out, especially if my wife and I are working at home, and it goes in and out. So I'm not happy with the one I have. So I called a certain company, and they said, oh, we're not coming into your area. We're not going north of the railroad tracks. I said, really? So I told them I was on the council, and they said, oh, yeah, so we talked about it. And so then I went to Public Works the other day, and then Public Works said, this company, no, that's who ours is. And I said, but that's north of, and then they told me it goes down Parkway, and I went, my backyard is basically Parkway. So I called another company, because I'm not happy with mine, and they said, we're not coming to your area, even though I know that they are right around the corner. And so I want to know what your areas are, and I want to know what you mean by your areas. No, I hadn't. Well, if you watched 2 years ago, or what, a year and a half ago, maybe I made you mad. And so I'm going to say this. I represent the lowest income ward in the city. And correlation does not mean causation. That's not a thing. But when you're in the poorest ward in the city and you're not getting service from two of these companies, and they're telling me that they don't go north of the railroad tracks because of whatever permitting. And I understand it's a business and you're going to go to the low-hanging fruit and get the most income you can. But it kind of chapped me a little bit when the two that I called told me they couldn't come to they're not in my area when I'm in the middle of the city. You can't get more central than I am in the city, but they're not coming to my neighborhood. And I don't know if you have anything to add, Mr. Keller, because you represent the same ward I do. But I would welcome anybody to come up and talk or talk to me afterward.
You know, while you're coming up and just say, like, I'm willing to also give the benefit of the doubt. It is frustrating that the ward that we're in, you know, and then Ward 3 has some of the same problems as well. It just always amazes me that these things seem to happen more on the east side of town. And I know that they happen all over, though. That's the frustrating part on this. But I mean, I do know that there seems to be an increase in the frequency of things happening over on the east side of town, especially the northeast side of town. And
All those
it's
photos are
frustrating.
from the east side of town.
Yeah. But every one of us has talked about, though, that this is, the issues of the poor service as far as wires being left out, so on and so forth. I could tell my own story from, my neighborhood, but it's just more of the same. It's frustrating that it's happening at all anywhere in town because it's such an easy thing to fix. You don't have to have super expensive high-tech equipment to go out and fix this. All you got to do is print a flyer, and order some door knockers saying when we're who we are, when we're going to be back, and what we're doing. Get a magnet with your company logo, and so that folks can put it on the side of their truck if they're using their personal truck to do this, so that they're identified, so that you are, one, in compliance with our regulations here, but two, so that it's just good business practice to let folks know who you are when you're coming into an area and not doing it in an unmarked vehicle, jumping out with a bunch of shovels and then start digging in someone's yard. I don't understand why the issues are occurring when they seem to be so easy to fix.
So,
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. I'm Katie Hall. I'm the Director of Construction Communication and Audit for Right Fiber by Ritter Communication. We have been done with our mainline.
Excuse me, which one?
Ritter Communications. Yes, our residential fiber brand is Right Fiber, so you'll see the name Right Fiber, Ritter synonymous here. Originally, our business service was Ritter. Now we're Right Fiber in the residential areas. We've been done with our mainline construction in the city of Russellville for quite a while now, but kind of like they mentioned earlier, you will still see lots of work with the drops. You will also still see, I call them over-glorified drops, which are our business builds. So it's coming off that main line that we've already put in to service customers. All of the things that you mentioned as far as city ordinances and the requirements, those are written. We work in 7 different states, and I represent all 7. I cover every one of our territories. Russellville is one of the clearest when it comes to getting their point across of what's required of us as utility providers. So we do use yard signs, not for the drops. This is if we're doing mainline, if we're going to disrupt multiple yards. We have yard signs that say construction underway that have a QR code on them and a phone number as well. I'll get to the phone number in just a second. We also do have door tags, so when the contractors go out to white line the path that they're going to do, they are to door tag every home that will be impacted by that build. Moving forward, after meeting with the city today, we will be door tagging for our drops as well. So if you sign up for service tomorrow and I'm crossing your yard to get to him, you both will receive door tags so you know that we're doing the work. All of our contractors do have the Right Fiber truck magnets, so if they're working for ABC contractor and that's already on their truck, you will see the Right Fiber contractor sticker. Sometimes they're window clings because some of the newer trucks, the aluminum bodies, we can't get the magnets to stick. So we've gotten a little creative with those. Also with the mainline construction, we do resident letters that go out before the build starts. So before we're ever in your yard, you know we're coming. And then we do postcards as soon as construction starts. So you will get another round before you even get the door tags in theory. We also do meet with the city during engineering. So this was, 3 years ago at least. We came in with our plans of what we were anticipating to build, took feedback from the city for where we needed to go. So we are obviously a business and we have to have a business model, but we know that y'all know your community better than we do. And so we try to get some feedback as we're going into engineering to get an idea of where we need to go. So moving forward, we are still actively building throughout, this state and 6 others. We still openly take that feedback of any areas that you guys are looking for service. And so what you said, I'll absolutely take addresses after we leave.
Okay, the person on your phone didn't want any feedback. So.
Well, I'm happy to take your feedback, and I'll give you my direct number, and we can go into details of the addresses there. Actively planning for the next few years. So from there, if there's any other, I feel like I'm forgetting, I'll come back to this hotline number. This is the biggest thing that I take so personally. We have a construction communication hotline number. This rings directly to our customer care in Jonesboro or Millington, so you get a real person on the phone. They put a ticket in based on your address and what your concern is. If it's ruts in your yard, that goes into a ticket. If there's flags in my yard, that goes in a ticket. If there's a crack in your driveway, whatever it is, construction related, it goes into a ticketing system. It goes to my team. We have 24 hours to respond to the residents, and typically it's much faster than that. So if you called in to this hotline number that I will leave this card for all of you to pass out to anyone in town that may need it, we know that you guys have day jobs. It's not your day job to go out and look and see what providers are here and who created this mess and what it is. That's ours. We have an entire team that handles this. So if you call in, give us the address, give us a chance to go out and look at it. We've got 24 hours to let the resident know whether it's us or whether we need to do some investigation or whatever that may be. And then we strive to meet and beat a 10-day SLA for any average concerns. So your ruts within 10 days, and we're usually within 3. We take that very, very seriously. We hold our contractors to a very high standard. Construction's messy. I'm never going to tell you that there's not going to be ruts. I'm not going to tell you that things aren't going to happen. But that's what we're here for. Again, y'all all have things to do in your day-to-day, and it doesn't include dealing with this. So I will leave this card that has that hotline number. Y'all can pass it out anywhere in the city. Whether you know we're there or not, we know exactly where our maps are, and we're more than happy to pull it up, find it for you guys. And then I'll leave my card with anybody that has any specifics as well.
We use Ritter at our business, and I am very, very thankful because we were one of the only ones downtown when you guys first came to town, and I'm pretty sure you built a whole setup just for us. So I appreciate that, and I tell everybody to use Ritter.
Well, we appreciate that. Yeah, any other questions? Like I said, I'll leave my card, has contact phone, email, all the things, and just let me know. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that wants to speak? It's an internet provider? Clarify? Stay after? Or Entergy?
Not an internet provider, but I'll speak. My name is Omar Clemens. I'm a customer service manager for Entergy, and certainly appreciate you guys inviting us here. We want to be good community partners, and we want to be able to solve problems. If there are problems presented to us, of course, we have the 1-800 number. I've brought door tags. We do have door hangers, and it's one of the things that I forcefully ask for our linemen to do is to anytime we are, sometimes we don't always get it. Sometimes, anytime we are interacting with a customer, is if they're not home, is to leave a door tag. Does that happen 100% of the time? Probably not. Sometimes they will, try to communicate with the customer directly, but that's something that we ask our team members to do, is to communicate with the customer no matter what, whether it's with a door hanger or directly. And then, of course, we have the 1-800 number. I have several other door tags that we should be handing out concerning anytime we work in a customer's yard. Sometimes it's in the middle of the night, and we don't want to disturb the customer, or whether they know we're out there or not, if we're making repairs. And one of the things that Chris brought up a minute ago, sometimes we will do digging, and with poles too. When we do poles, we set poles in the ground, we will leave dirt at the edge. And so it has to settle naturally before the integrity of the system. Otherwise, poles will end up leaning. And I'll give you an example. Like if anybody who's ever buried a loved one and you don't put enough dirt, it'll settle and then it'll be there. And so we have to leave that dirt. And sometimes customers don't always understand that. However, if there is ever an issue that is not resolved by a customer call the 1-800 number, you guys are invited to communicate that with me, and I will address it personally. So sometimes there are situations with the amount of customers that we do have that we don't communicate perfectly, but certainly we want to close those gaps any chance and any opportunity we get. And sometimes we get service drops that are confused for ourselves, and so customers will complain and say, hey, that energy left there, but sometimes it's old service drops from CenturyTel years ago or something like that. But ultimately, we want to first and foremost keep the public safe. That's our first and foremost ideal, is to make sure that they're safe and then make sure that the customer is satisfied with what we're doing. So, with that being said, I'll address any questions or concerns from this council that you guys may have.
I appreciate you. I mean, that makes sense. Everything you said makes sense, and that's the kind of information we need. So when people say, "Why is the soil 2 inches, 3 inches above, or you left a pile there?" we can tell them that. So it's educating us, so we can educate the public, and just having answers. But this is fantastic. If everybody used a system like this, it would save us a lot of issues, because I would know exactly who to call when there's an issue. So thank you, Omar. I appreciate it.
And anybody, we want the feedback. We do, if there is a scheduled service, sometimes we do random calls to understand whether we've done a good job. I forget what they call them, but they do calls to check on, ask the customer, how did we do, and did we solve your issue or problem. Customer satisfaction surveys is what we do. Sometimes it's random, and so I'm proud to say that we have worked diligently to improve that customer satisfaction score. Last quarter in 2025, we went to the first quartile in customer satisfaction for our residential customers, and in the first quarter of this year, we're in the first quartile of customer satisfaction. But there are things that get missed, and I am dogmatic about trying to make sure we solve those issues anytime they arise, especially in the areas that I cover. So,
I have a question about when you do the maintenance, line maintenance, where they come out and spray and clear the brush. I know that you contract that out.
Yes.
And I have had an issue in the past where my dogs were going nuts, and there was 2 guys just messing with my dogs. And their sprayers and stuff were sitting on the ground. I went out there to find out who they were and what they were doing. They didn't speak English. They had no identifying marks on the clothing, their hard hats, anything. There was no vehicle. So eventually someone did show up in an unmarked vehicle that I guess had dropped them off, and he said, "Oh yeah, we are doing this contract to maintain the lines, keep them clear." But I know that you have to contract that out, but making sure that they are identifiable in some way would be great, because I didn't appreciate that. And in fact, he asked if they could come up and finish because they supposedly weren't done. And I said, well, if they weren't done, they shouldn't have been messing with my dogs instead of working.
Yeah.
So I told them that they couldn't come back and do anything else.
Understandable. Hey, look, that shouldn't happen. Bottom line is that shouldn't happen. And if you give me a time and date, I'll make sure that it gets addressed. We should have, all of our contractors should have markings. They should have tags. They should be wearing hard hats, especially when they're working. And so those are things that should be happening. It shouldn't be unmarked vehicles. It is It used to be West Tree Services. We use Asplin now for our contractors. But all of our contractor managers should have some type of working on their vehicle. So I definitely will address that if you
Hey,
give me time date. Yes,
So for real estate and for city council, I've had the same thing come up a lot. There's some interesting wiring in Russellville. I'll have inspectors come in and say there's wires are going through the garage to get to the house. Do you guys have anyone that, like, if you're driving around and you see something that looks maybe not up to code nowadays, do they address that? I mean, it's been an issue I've had a ton in real estate, where the inspector is worried that the way it's being ran is wrong or unsafe. Like, when you guys are out and around, like, is there any kind of regulation on that? Like, if it's there, is it safe, I guess is what I'm trying to say, or?
So I mean, there may be some services out there that are very, very, very old, but we have to follow National Electric Code and it's city permitting. You know, if the inspector, it has to be have a permit if it passed inspection. But if our line doesn't have the right integrity going to that service, then it's incumbent upon us to replace it. Mostly, you know, for the safety of our own workers. I mean, like, if they're going to work on a line that's energized, that's compromised in some way, then we certainly would replace it in the event that it doesn't look right, or there is something that's not working right on it, or whatever the case may be.
So if they call the 1-800-ENERGY number, if they're worried about it, they can send someone out to look. I mean, that's happened to me probably like 20 times, so.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's another good point is that data is important to us. So calling the 1-800 number, a lot of customers don't want to do that, but it helps us be better. And so if we can encourage, if you guys can encourage your constituents to first call the 1-800 number, then it gives us the data to say that, hey, we got a problem we need to go address. And if it doesn't get resolved, then you guys call me and I'll make sure it gets resolved. But certainly, 1-800 number is a way to report, say, hey, look, you know, I think I got a service problem with my service coming to my house, and we'll send somebody out.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Clemens.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Mr. Gray, now we've postponed item 3, right?
Yeah, that's going to move, Ms. Skelton, if you can move that to the June agenda prep. Thank you.
Okay.
And anybody else want to speak? Okay.
All right. Moving on to item 4 is a consideration of resolution to set a public hearing to vacate the public utility easement at 3100 East Main Street, submitted by Planning Commission. We'll have that, have a public hearing. And then item 5 is going to be consideration of an ordinance to codify the city residential solid waste ordinance and amendments just further conform to recent changes in state law. This is something Mr. Smith is doing just to get us in more in conformation with the new state laws and some modifications. No. It's just going to, no, we shouldn't have any effect on anything as far as. I do have a gentleman that has signed up to speak, Mr. Paul Baldwin. If you'll come to the podium, please state your name, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak.
My name is Paul Baldwin. I live here in Russellville. I'm here to address some of our ordinance issues that are not being enforced, and more specifically, one that I've got some stuff that you can actually look at as I'm telling you about it. If you want, I've got 11 copies in here. You can pass those down. One of the ordinances you have is basically your traffic and parking code. That's under 11.1, under Section 11 of the Traffic Parking Code. That's more specifically about parking motorhomes in easements and parking motorhomes in the streets. We have that problem in our neighborhood. We've had that problem since last December. I've gone through several of the different city offices, and I've ran into some roadblocks. I've gotten some understanding here in the last couple, 3 days, but we still have the same issue going on as we speak. So that's what I'm trying to bring to your attention. Now, they also have under that same thing, if you look under section 15 of that parking code, it's 15.1, actually tells you, that's the second page that you have, tells you what the penalty is. And what I've been told by every entity, code enforcement, the police department, all, is that they don't have anything to enforce. And I've had some tell me that they don't know who enforces it. I think we've come to a conclusion that we do know who enforces it or who can. And the enforcement says, if you read it closely, the wording in there says the word shall. It says down through there, it tells you what the penalty it shall be a civil penalty, and it shall be fined. I've looked that word up 100 times, and it tells me that there is no discretion in whether or not you do enforce that ordinance. If it says may, I would say you have a discretion. When it says shall, you should not have a discretion. You should follow the ordinance as it's written. And that's all I have to say about it. Like I said, it's still ongoing. It's not only my neighborhood. It's going on across the neighborhoods everywhere. And they have people that are parking boats in there fall under the same thing. They're parking them in their driveways. If they've got a carport, they're parked under the carport. Where the carport begins, the driveway ends. I understand that. But the area, my area in particular, was a safety issue for me because it's on it's a blind hill. I've been told it's not. If you measure from the top, halfway down on each side, you park a car halfway down on each side, you can't see the car. And this thing was parking right on the halfway point. So that's what I was here to discuss. And if y'all have any questions, I'm helping. I can tell you anything I know about it, and I know a lot.
If you don't mind staying after, I'll talk to you about it, at least so I can go take a look at it.
And I do have photos. I've got lots of photos that go back, and they're dated. They're time-stamped and dated. I also have a security footage. We have security cameras on our house that actually encapsulate this area up here at the top of the camera. And this particular mobile home comes in sometimes 8 or 9 o'clock at night, drives in, parks, and he's there overnight. Sometimes he'll come out there 10, 11 o'clock, start it up, charge the batteries up for an hour, and then he gets back out of it and goes back in the residence. He doesn't live at this residence. As we speak, as I come to the meeting today, he was actually parked in the easement. And speaking to the police department, one of them, I talked to the chief, Ewing, and I also talked to a Lieutenant Hendricks. Lieutenant Hendricks told the guy that if he would just move a set of his wheels off the roadway and leave the other set on the roadway, that's close enough. It's still sticking out with that motor home. It's still sticking out 5 to 6, 7 foot in the roadway.
Okay. In the interest of time, and
Sure.
I think the timer just went off, but that's partly my fault because I asked you a question.
Sure.
So if you would stay after, and
I
maybe
will.
we can look into this, because I know it's already been a long meeting. But we all asked for this job, and long meetings are part of it. So anyway, but I'd be glad to talk to you.
Sure.
Probably somebody else, too.
Real quick, I just want to say, because I've seen instances of this be a problem, and we have a code, and we have a problem, and we have a code to fix the problem. So let's use the code to fix the problem. It's
That's
pretty
been the problem.
simple.
Nobody
Like,
wants
if
to
it's a
enforce
code, if it's a problem, and there's a code to fix it, let's do it. Period.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all. If you don't like the code, change the code. But that's the code, and we're gonna live by the code.
Sure.
Period. So.
I don't have a question for Mr. Baldwin, but I do want to say that we've been talking for some time now
Right.
about this. I know that I have personally gone by the address and seen the RV parking both on the street, halfway on the lot in the street, and all the way in the lot. I seem to remember there was a few years ago, there was a family that had purchased a property that they had planned on renovating. And as part of their renovation plans, they were going to have an RV. It was going to be parked on the property, and they were going to stay in the RV while they renovated. And code enforcement came out and said, no, that's not allowed. We can't have an RV like that here. And they came to us and said, hey, can we do something about it? We're like, this is the rules are clear here. And if we make an exception, in this time, at this one time, then we're going to end up making exceptions all the way down the line. And that was the decision at the time. And I really don't know what has changed between it absolutely positively black and white, our code doesn't allow it, and someone was going to take care of it and make sure that it stopped, then to now, no one knows whose responsibility it is. It may be theirs, it may be nobody, it may be both. If it's in the street, it's this group, and if it's in the yard, it's this group, and if it's on both. And talking to Mr. Baldwin, finding out that this is something that he has been trying to get taken care of since December, and here we are in May. That for 6 months, no one has been able to step up and say, okay, we're going to enforce our rules. We just got done talking to folks about how we need you guys to follow our rules, but then we're not going to enforce the same rules that we have on the books. And so it's frustrating. It's frustrating for me, and I've only been working on it with Mr. Baldwin for a couple weeks. I can't imagine how frustrated you are having to live with it for 6 months. And I really hope that this is something that we can take care of, and this is not going to be an issue moving forward. And then we can ultimately decide if this is the situation, who is in charge of this situation and taking care of it. And I understand that if it's in the road and it's the police department, that they're not going to drive our city streets looking for RVs. Just this is what our job. You're on RV patrol. But the way I look at it is, if it's seen, you do something about it. If no one sees it, well, it's there. But when someone in the area complains about a violation, then we handle it. Because now it's not just it's there and no one knows it's there and it's not bothering anybody. It's like every one of us speeds. We don't get a ticket every time that we speed. We get a ticket when someone sees it or someone brings it to the attention of the folks who are responsible for it. And I would really like it if next week Mr. Baldwin was able to call me and say, hey, they're not there anymore because our rule is being enforced. The same way we're asking these companies who are coming to town to put in fiber to follow our rules, that we're going to also follow our rules.
Yeah, I'm going to adjourn here in a second, but I will tell you that ordinance was given to code enforcement and police department last week for the first time. So they have made visits and they are taking care of that, and they will be taking care of it. So, all right, I'll entertain a motion.
Can I say one short little thing? One thing I did talk with, when I was talking with Chief Ewing, he told me that he was trying to set it up in such a way, because code enforcement said that their hands were kind of tied if it's in the street, because they don't have the information of the license plate on the vehicles. But he said he's going to work with code enforcement to try to have some kind of contact during business hours that they can actually, code enforcement can call the police department and someone can actually get that information for them to actually try to
Chief
enforce it
Sedian
in
and
some
Chief
way.
Ewing will be taking care of it.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. I'll entertain a motion. All right, we adjourn. Thank you.